So next we're going to take a look at the message and input dialog within the visible workflow tab. This allows you to display a message onto the screen for a user to view, and also display a message on the screen that the user can interact with, in which you can store the result within Visible for reference within your workflow. So we start off as always by going to your file and you log in. In my case, it'll be the administrator account, but this will be whatever your local account is on your system. You hit login and you now have access to Visible. So you navigate to your workflow tab and insert action. First, we'll take a look at the message dialog. So you go to your drop down, you select message dialog, click OK. As always, it autofills with the name of the action, in this case message dialog, but I will add in message dialog 1. Click OK, and the action will launch into the workflow. And this box will appear on the right hand side. So this box is just what you need to configure. This will be the message you want to display to your user. So in this case, I will say test, and it's done. And just note that this isn't just characters of letters. This can also be numbers, and this can also be special characters like @ or exclamation mark. So once this has been inserted into your message dialog, you hit run workflow and see how it launches onto the screen in front of you. So you can copy this message to a clipboard. For example, if this was a log number or an error sign, you could click it and use it as a reference. And you click OK. Note that once this has been run, it's also stored as a variable within Visible's variable engine. So go to View, Variables, and it's up here as message dialog 1.message. So again, you can reference this in other actions. The next one to look at will be your input dialog. Similar to the message dialog, it'll display a message on the screen for the person to view. But in this case, the person can also interact with it by inserting a reply. So you go to insert action, and you drop down, in this case, to input dialog. Click OK. I'm going to call it input dialog 1. And it launches onto your screen. It's the exact same setup as your message dialog, just a message box to configure here. I'll call it again, test, exclamation mark, and I'm going to run this action. Note that the message appears on the screen and you have a section to reply. This can be useful if you're looking to guide a workflow with an if statement perhaps, or indeed you want to append a name to a file. So I'm just going to say pass in this case and click OK, and it executes, and the result of which is now stored as a variable within the variable engine. So note input dialog 1, the input, the message which I replied, and input dialog.message, the message that was displayed to the user.